What's up, gangsters? How about 10 minutes of random? Alright, I have got a whole bunch of random right now. This stuff has been stacking up, and I have all kinds of chaos on my workbench, so this is good. So, to kind of go back to where the last random was, here's another little view of the Honda Monkey, and there is that gas tank that I talked about on the last one. And you can see that lovely Tamiya LP11 silver finish on that gas tank. That's basically just right on top of Mr. Surfacer 1500 that had just a light sanding just to make sure there was no texture in it and nothing else. That's about 3 layers of that stuff, and it is phenomenal. And if you're looking to get some, you still cannot get these Tamiya lacquer paintos here in the United States. I mean, not like officially, but it is possible. I found a couple of bottles of this at on eBay, out of a hobby shop in Los Angeles. Had it in like a week, so it wasn't too big of a deal. So it's great stuff, and of course I am going to be using it on the Eduard Mustang, which I showed you guys in the last random thing that I was going to start, and I've been working away on it ever since then. That's all my video efforts have gone into that. I'm up to like 5 episodes now of this little foil adventure. And what I just finished is doing all of the body work to smooth out the wings and get rid of the panel lines that Eduard felt like they needed to include, so that this represents a more realistic view of the the North American laminar flow wing that Mustangs were famous for. And in my latest episode, I talk about what all that engineering jargon means and go through the process of how I got that lovely satin smooth Mr. Surfacer 1500 finish on those. So that is ready for some LP11, and hopefully it'll look as good as that Monkey gas tank does. Also, of course, on that, since that is the foil adventure, I have been doing some experimenting with foil, and I also talk about that in the video series. And here's a little bit of a view as to what I've accomplished with that so far. This is pretty slick and pretty cool. Still not totally there. I mean, you can see there's a lot of scratches in that foil, and this, by the way, is just kitchen foil, where I've applied the adhesive myself, which was a trick to learn how to spray it on with an airbrush, but that seems to be the deal. And then I've sanded it and polished it, and still not there. I mean, it's got some, pretty out of scale scratches going on there, but overall it's got that kind of reflective but cloudy appearance that a brand new sheet of All-Clad has. So I'm pretty encouraged by that. I think I'm going to get there. One thing that somebody has recommended to me to use that I haven't tried yet, and it makes perfect sense, is this Mother's mag and aluminum polish. And they're saying that you don't even have to sand. So we'll see. I'm going to be trying this out and see what I get out of that. Now, speaking of adhesive, microscale has long been considered the go-to for the glue that you're supposed to apply to the foil for this application. But in my random surfing of Facebook modeling groups, I found a recommendation, a dude who didn't even know about the microscale stuff and just bailed into doing his own foil project, found this Mona Lisa Speedball metal leaf size. I don't know why they call it size, but it just means glue. And this is basically, it smells exactly like Elmer's glue, but it's contact cement. And so you spray it on or brush it on or roll it on or whatever, let it dry till it's clear, which takes, you know, minutes, and then it's sticky, and you just apply that. You just burnish the foil in place, and it is surprisingly sticky. I had some of the microscale stuff. I threw it away because it was super thick. This stuff, you can probably hear when I shake it. Maybe, I don't know. It's pretty thin. I mean, this stuff is like the consistency of whole milk. And I'm spraying it through my airbrush in a really, really thin layer without thinning it at all. So, I like it. Good stuff. All right, speaking of finding things on Amazon, this is one that was also recommended in a random Facebook post. Let me dial up my Amazon page here. This is not a new thing at all. This is just vinyl pinstriping tape. Tamiya makes some of this stuff. 3M makes it. But what appealed to me about this is that you get half a dozen rolls of different widths. And one of them is only a millimeter or so wide. You can see that. Much narrower than anything else I've found. And where that can come in to play is, you know, if you want to do a tight camo pattern. Now, as you can see, all is not perfect in Fairyland because it tends to not want to stay stuck down. The disadvantage of these vinyl type tapes is that you have to stretch and hold while you're placing it. So you have to be holding it with your finger, pulling on it, stretching it, sticking it down, and working it into the curve. And because it is under tension, then it tends to want to relax back, and you can see if it's not fully stuck down, then you get that. So it doesn't always work great. It's pretty much my least favorite way of doing that type of a wavy camo line. It's more for, let's say you need to mask a fuselage band, and the thing is not, it's enough of a compound curve that you can't just use a piece of masking tape. It's useful for stuff like that, but for this, I don't know. But hey, you stand a much better chance with it being this wide than you do with it being the normal width like that right there. But the other challenge with this stuff is you have to be holding it and pulling it, and that's a lot easier to do with just a little test piece laying on the bench where you can stick your finger on it than your entire model. But if you want to find some, this is what it was on Amazon, brand Jinbing. I'm sure you can search it in there and find it. So anyway, pretty cool, pretty cheap, $16 for the whole bit there. Now, the other thing that's going on with this little wing test panel, I did an experiment not too long ago. Oh, look, and that left a little bit of residue. Well, that's not great. So that's something else you got to watch for. Anyhow, I did an experiment not too long ago that came about from a conversation I was having with Matt Bowl, who, as you know, is a wonderful guy and the proprietor and owner of Hobby World USA, which is my favorite place to get stuff. And we were going on about the fact that so many of these 2K clear urethane glosses end up going bad because the hardener, and we think this is because it's UV, and the hardeners are in glass bottles for more model making sized appropriateness, that UV causes the hardeners to go off. And so what I have is several bottles of the resin, the gloss clear part, and no hardener. But I've got this can of U-Pol hardener that I have had for literally 5 years, and it still works. It still kicks the U-Pol just like it's supposed to. So we were curious, well, I wonder if you could use this hardener with other clear urethanes. So I did. I mixed it up according to the recipes that they give you, but just substituting this hardener out of the can. And it works, it hardens it. But what I would really like to see with a 2K clear urethane is for it to pass the thumbnail test within like 5 days. And the thumbnail test is where you just try and dig your nail into it, because if you can, it's too soft to polish. And I did that every day for like a week, and as you can see, this has been, like a month that it's been sitting here, and I still dug my nail into that. This side is the gravity stuff. This side over here feels a little bit harder. It's the MRP stuff, but still did not fully pass, even when I just did it this morning. So I don't know, can you use a generic hardener for all of these, 2K clears? Yeah, sort of. But this definitely did not get as hard as the gravity stuff does with its own hardener. So there you go. I don't know about the MRP. I don't know how hard it gets because I never got to use it before it went off. So who knows what's up with that. All right, so you can see in this mess, I've got some lovely little 3D printed parts here. These are always fun to look at. And these are monkey parts. I finally have front sprockets that I can now install the beautiful Tamiya 1/6 scale chain that I built for it. And if you're curious, these came off of an Anycubic Photon, and they were run at 0.2 or 0.02 millimeter layer height. So you can see it even did a really nice job of giving me the chamfer on the edge of all those sprocket teeth. I mean, the definition there is just gorgeous. These are also really nice. These are fork caps. You can see the resolution and the crispness there on those is just super, super good. So I'm looking forward to doing that. All right, what else have I got here? Oh, here is a pile of hobby knives. That's kind of a weird thing. So what's up with that? I got curious about some of these other hobby knives that have the blade retention thing, and these all work the same way, where you screw this thing down tight at the end, and it holds the blade. Because we all get tired of the blade coming loose here at the tip. I know, like with my X-Acto. And my X-Acto replicas, that thing is always coming loose, and it's super irritating, especially since they went to just the single slot because they're too cheap to make it have 2 slots. So anyway, I just one day just randomly bought a bunch of these to see how they go. This XL one is my favorite one so far. It's got a nice sized round handle. That was embarrassing. I ran out of space on my card. Anyway, this one is nice. It's got a nice round handle with a soft grip. It's made by Excel. It's pretty cool. This one, not a fan at all. It's clearly aimed at the crafters, I guess. I don't know. This Fiskars one is weird. It's heavy because the handle, I think, is maybe steel, or this insert is. I don't know. I can't even figure out how to get the damn blade out of it. So somebody's going to have to show me because I'm too thick. This one is really, different only in the way that the blade is retained. This one I don't like. It's like too much of a good thing. They tried so hard to make the handle ergonomic that it's like you can't, there's only one way to hold it. So it's just not good for my clumsy hands. Anyway, that's that. Oh, and here's another thing. I told you there was a lot of random stuff going on here. So if you watch Paul Budzik's videos, you'll see him mix this dense ply acrylic powder with super glue and make this super filler putty material that he likes. And it's amazing because the super glue doesn't instantly cure. And every time I've tried that with this acrylic powder, it instantly cures and turns into a hard orange ball. So we had a big discussion about this on SMCG, and a bunch of guys did experiments because that's just how we roll in there. And the theory was put out there that it was the powder. And I was like, yeah, come on, it's all acrylic powder, right? Well, yeah, apparently no. Apparently there are slight differences in chemistry that make a difference, because when I repeated the experiment with this stuff, worked fine. I could stir it up with regular old Loctite super glue, no problem. I didn't have an unlimited amount of time to work it, but I had enough time for it, to make it into a useful putty. As opposed to this, which hardened instantly no matter what kind of super glue I used. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Unfortunately, this stuff is practically impossible to get unless you're a dentist, and it's expensive. But once again, Matt Bowl at Hobby World USA to the rescue, because he has Dentsply and will sell it to you in a little bottle like this. And this is unless you're just doing a whole lot of filling, this will last you a long time. So you can get that from Matt Bowl. He sent me this bottle. So there you go. No need to buy weird stuff, from the nail art powder supply, even though it does come in cool colors. Anyhow, the last thing I'll show you I thought's kind of cool. We'll see how these work. As I was doing all of the putty mixing with lacquer thinner, because that's what I do. I mix lacquer-based putty with lacquer thinner so that I can apply it with a really small brush. Much more controlled that way. Well, I never had anything suitable for stirring it up, so I went looking for some disposable spatulas. And now I am the owner of 200 disposable makeup spatulas for like $5. So I don't know. We'll see how these work. It may be a fail. I don't know, but we'll see. That's how we find new stuff. Oh, hey, here's something else. I told you, lots of stuff. Somebody recommended to me, I think it was actually Fancilero, maybe, or maybe David Lingle. I don't know. Anyway, good model makers, so I take their word for it. They said I should have some of this metal foil on my bench for any time I need to make like belts or straps or whatever. And yeah, so I got some, and that's what this is. It's super soft and malleable. I ordered this from the Green Stuff World website, or eBay store, and no issues with that. So I'll just add that to my stash of scratch building supplies. Who knows when I'll ever need to use it, but yeah, anyway. Okay, that's enough random. Bye.